That's another pot for Peters.
David Peters is crushing right now. He has taken control of the PCA main event.
It's day 5. I have a big chip lead. Feeling great. I'm just gonna play my game. Another day at the office.
I've never seen him get rattled. Never seen him go on tilt.
It's another pot for Peters.
People are afraid to play David Peters.
I prefer to play against bad players, but David Peters is a really tough player.
It's obvious that he's better than me, but a lot of things could happen.
He's very aggressive, he knows how to pick his spots, and he's a classical example of a good style to finish out really long events, like a main event like this.
Very good feel for all the players. Loving my spot. So we'll see what happens.
Hello once again, welcome to the Bahamas and the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure. This is the penultimate day of PCA 2018, which means it's also the penultimate day of the main event. Day 5, just 16 players remain looking for a spot at the final table. Hello everyone, it's James Hartigan alongside Lex Veldhuis and Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my babies.
Lex, a day of drama, a day of excitement for the final 16. They can now realistically start eyeing that top prize. They can start thinking about being at that final table.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to be as well a dream as it's going to be a trap, because Maria Lampropoulos and David Peters are going to take advantage of that. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Joe, we spoke earlier in the week about how exciting the bubble is for us from a spectator's point of view. For many people, this is an even more exciting day.
I think this is more exciting potentially for the viewers, definitely for the players. Everybody wants to make that final table. Also, big sweat for us. Are we going to make it on time to the players' party? That is the most important thing today.
Well, if there's one man who can get us there on time, it's this guy, David Peters. Last time, he built up his stack at the feature table alongside former EPT champion Adrian Mateos. The Spanish pro started the session strong, dispatching Jack Sinclair in 24th place. And then the bust-outs continued at a rather alarming pace. The day concluded with heartache for both previous champs. Adrian Mateos crippled in the last hand, while Liv Boeree found herself on the wrong side of a cooler against Maria Lampropoulos, busting in 17th. Lex, I highlighted the fact that we saw a rapid rate of eliminations yesterday. Does that dictate that today will be a slower day?
It might be, but let's look at the trend of the tournament. I think that the big stacks, and especially these big stacks, have been showing that they want to make a lot of action. I expect nothing less today, especially because every new spot is almost a new bubble bursting.
Nice.
So these are the big stacks heading into day 5. The tournament headlined by David Peters with more than 3,150,000 big blinds. Maria Lampropoulos second in chips with 2.2 million. Both David and Maria will take seats up on the main stage at the main feature table. Looking at the bottom half of the leaderboard, 4 players have sub-20 big blind stacks. Adrian Mateos is the shorty with just 15 bigs, but you can never discount a player of his caliber. So Lex, yesterday was really the day of David Peters. He built up that stack over the 3 million mark. Do you think today will be part 2 of that story?
I mean, if Peters has any say about that, then sure. But there's also Lampropoulos, so I think that's the interesting dynamic to look for. How light's Peters going to open? How is Lampropoulos going to react to that?
It's going to be interesting for sure.
Well, looks like we're going to get cards in the air here on the penultimate day of the PCA 2018 main event. And our thanks to Lex Veldhuis as we play down to the final table, starting the session with blinds at 10,000, 20,000 with a 3,000 ante. Action is on at Daniel Kupel, the Canadian qualifier. He folds. Mateos is out. Pocket fours for David Peters, and that's a raise to 45,000.
More than enough to get Peters going.
5-3 of hearts for Oleg Titov. He folds. Jonathan West has aces in the cutoff.
This could be trouble for Peters. He does not give up easily.
West re-raises. It's a 3-bet to 100,000. Folded around to Philip Corrian, who's got jacks in the big blind.
This is probably going to save Peters some chips.
All in.
Corrian shoves. Peters folds. West calls.
Uh-oh.
He knows it's bad news.
You said it, buddy.
Nice one.
Philip Corrian runs jacks into aces. He is a 4-1 underdog.
West is on fire.
Climate change is real.
The flop, 9-7 deuce. Club's not a factor.
So I get my bag ready.
It's not over yet.
Well,
Board pairs on the turn.
Yep.
Corrian needs a jack on the river. 2 outs. That ain't one of them.
Good luck, guys.
Take care, Phil.
the 2-outer never happens for you. It only happens to you.
Jonathan West up to nearly 2 million, dispatching Philip Corrian in 16th place. The Brit cashes out for $49,680. So the next player out will get just over 55 grand. Make it to the final table, you're guaranteed more than 100K, and the winner will get more than $1 million.
That's an amount that would make Dr. Evil very happy.
Well, let's head over to the secondary table. 3-way action going to the flop. Corey Aldemir raised, called by both Sean Buchanan and Adalfa Morales. We didn't catch Buchanan's hole cards.
Oh, hello.
That's a set of jacks for Aldemir, and unless Bucky's got kings, he has the best hand.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how many more Aldemir Boromir jokes I've got left in me, but I'll try.
Aldemir continues for 90,000.
Always bet your sets.
Buchanan folds his hand. I'm guessing he didn't have kings.
Good read.
Morales has a gut shot straight draw.
Calling for the non-nut gut shot. Will he do it? Looks like yes, and believe it or not, I'm going to allow it.
Heads up to the turn with nearly 350K in the middle. It's a queen. That's the straight for Morales.
Oh, man, I can't believe it. He did it.
Checks to Aldemir.
Corey almost certainly going to bet again.
Question is how much? And the answer to that question is 185,000.
This could very well be the end of the Lord of the Rings references.
All in.
Morales check raises all in, shoving on Aldemir, who calls all in. A great spot for Morales. Aldemir is out unless the board pairs.
Yep, I'd be annoyed too.
The German needs a king, a queen, a 4, or the case jack.
One does not simply make a full house on the river.
Yes, he does.
Return of the King.
Aldemir doubles up.
Wow.
And they're going to check the stacks. But Morales is going to be left pretty short after that.
More Ales, fewer chips. And like Return of the King, this story goes on and on.
Aldemir has actually just edged ahead of David Peters, has the slight chip lead, 2.85 million, 2.82 million for David Peters.
Emotions and fortunes flipped so fast in this game. 11 seconds ago, Aldemir was annoyed. Now he's chip leader.
Back at the main feature table. Action folded to Jonathan West. 5-6 goes in the muck. Maria Lampropoulou is out. 8-3 for Patrick Potarek. He passes. Daniel Kupel has pocket 8s on the button.
Kupla 8. Kupla 8's there.
He raises to 50,000. Now, Adrian Mateos has chipped up a little since the start of play, but it's still reasonably short. Ace-3 in the small blind.
against the button raise. He's probably going to have to go with this.
All in.
There's the shove.
439.
David Peters in the big blind has ace-9.
Ooh.
Thinking about it, but lets it go. Action back on Kupel.
I don't think I can fold.
He cannot fold. Although I'm sure Adrian wants him to fold now.
I'm all in. Yeah.
Adrian Mateos at risk and behind.
We knew Adrian was going to have to get it in pretty soon. I'm sure he was hoping for a better spot than this. All in for his tournament life, and we know an ace has been folded.
27% equity, a 27% chance of survival. Ace on the flop.
Oh, that is so brutal.
And of course, we saw an 8 folded pre-flop, so Kupel's now drawing to 1 out. King on the turn brings opportunities.
So 1 out for Kupel to win it. 4 for them to chop.
Mateos almost home and dry. Gets the full double up.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, and you thought my jokes were bad.
This was slightly worse.
Don't have much left to rebuild with.
It's my lucky dealer.
Lucky you. You remember up and down, up and down,
up, down,
up and down.
yeah.
Is he trying to enter the Konami code?
Good
I
luck.
know how this guy plays.
Good, he plays good.
As we said at the start of the day, you cannot discount Mateos. He's now got close to $1 million in chips. You can never write off Adrian Mateos. The former champ is back in contention for the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure 2018 main event title. It will be the latest in a series of victories for the young Spanish pro.
In 2013, I won the World Series of Europe's main event. And then in 2015, I won the APT Monte Carlo. So that's 2 are really big scores for me at the time because it gave me the bankroll to travel around the world and play a lot of high-stakes poker tournaments and until today. When I was starting playing poker, it was one of my goals to become like a high-stakes player. And now I can play all the high-stakes tournaments. I think that I work a lot for that, and I just try to keep working and keep winning. So after double up, let's see if I still running well and can make like decent stack to reach the final table.
The old phrase goes, I'd rather be lucky than good, but I'd rather be Adrian Mateos because he's both.
15 players remain in the PCA main event. Blinds are up to 12,000, 24,000 with a 4,000 ante. Action here on Oleg Titov at the feature table.
Titov.
Jack 10, he folds. Jonathan West has King Jack.
Who loves you, baby?
He raises to 53,000. Maria Lampropoulos folds, as does Patrick Potarek. Daniel Kupel is out. Mateos is in the small blind. 9-8. Gives it up. David Peters in the big blind with King 10.
A call here would be standard.
So, heads up to the flop. West dominating Peters. And it's a king-high flop. Terrible news for David.
Somebody get the refrigeration people on the horn because we got a cooler shaping up.
Jonathan bets 50,000. There's the call. Turn card is the 5 of hearts pairing the board.
Oh, an ace, a king, or a 5 chops it now.
Peters checks a second time. Jonathan West bets a second time. 125,000.
There's not really much Peters can do here. Top pair on a fairly wet board. Everyone's deep. Kind of got to just call.
He does call, which takes us to the river. It's a jack, and West improves to a better two pair. $496,000 in the middle, and West is going for value.
Come on, 3.
300K.
Jonathan West going for 3 full straights, like collecting all the light blues in Monopoly.
David Peters calls and loses a significant pot to Jonathan West.
Totally understandable. He would call all the way down. Every draw missed.
West now playing more than 2.2 million.
The sun won't be setting on West anytime soon, huh?
David Peters drops below the 2 million mark. He is now 4th in chips overall. And man down from the secondary table.
Good game.
Good luck, guys.
Florian Maurer eliminated in 15th place, cashing for just over $55,000.
Maurer, more like less, or, okay.
Let's look at the final 14, and Corey Aldemir sits at the top of the leaderboard with 2.8 million, closely followed by Maria Lampropoulou with 2.5 million. Not a good start to the day for David Peters, but he still sits inside the top 5. At the bottom end, Daniel Kupel is the shortest stack with just 19 big blinds. Well, let's go back to the secondary table where it's Faro versus Ateba. And Faro has flopped trip kings. He bet 88,000 on the flop. Ateba has called. We're going to the turn, which is the 6 of clubs. And Ateba shoves with just 5% equity.
Mikey, what you looking so stressed out for?
Could be worried about the boat.
Feel like you're not bluffing, but call.
You're good, Faro. You're good.
He wasn't bluffing. He just didn't have a very good hand.
Ateba has 2 outs, and a wise man once said that the 7 is always coming.
Is it always coming, 7? 7's guy, what say you? Doesn't look like he's feeling it.
Well, if there isn't a 7 on the river, we are going to lose Jean Ateba from the PCA main event. The river card is a 4.
Good game, man. Nice playing with you.
Thank you. Good game.
Ateba eliminated in 14th place.
Wasn't really meant to be a slow roll, but it's kind of a tough spot. Like usually it's not a bluff.
Yeah. He's kind of random, that guy, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
The same way Pam slow rolled you with Jim.
Michael Faro now an above average stack as we head back to the main stage. Actions on Adrian Mateos. He folds. David Peters with 9-5 of diamonds, getting frisky, raises to 55K.
Maria Ho said she doesn't see David Peters tilt. Well, 9-5 suited from early.
Round to Maria Lampropoulou, who's got ace-king on the button.
Usually we're going to see a 3-bet here.
No, just a call.
Ooh, what a just call.
Patrick Potarek folds the small blind. Daniel Kupel, who qualified online for $530, has ace-jack of diamonds in the big.
Daniel Kupel's about to get trapped like that ab scam sting.
All in.
He shoves. Peters gets out of the way. And Maria Lampropoulou puts Kupel at risk.
2 of his diamonds were folded too by Peters. It's Domination Nation. Advantage Lampropoulou.
Good luck.
I think Ace Jack's gonna win this time.
Okay.
Jack on the flop, but beware of the premature celebration, Daniel.
Well, he's an 85% favorite.
Now 82%.
Okay.
7 outs for Lampropoulos. A king or a 10 on the river would eliminate the qualifier, but it's a 6.
Understandable celebration.
I had to get lucky one time.
Yeah, it is.
I got unlucky how many times?
To be fair, you did not have to get lucky one.
Yeah, I don't mind getting lucky though.
So Maria Lampropoulos takes a bit of a hit, down to 1.89 million.
Oh yeah.
All right, calm down.
Daniel Kupel up to 1.22 million. He is not a poker professional, but he has been playing the game for more than 15 years. He graduated from the University of Saskatchewan in 2005, and he is now a farmer just outside the town of Regina in Canada.
It's a great life. I enjoy farming and all the challenges it provides. It's sort of similar to poker in a way. You know, you're trying to scratch a living out of the dirt, and you stick your seeds in the ground, and you hope you can make some money, but Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate. Who knows what could happen? I mean, to win the PCA, it'd be massive. That would be mind-blowing.
I'm all for a good poker's like blank metaphor, but farming, no, not allowing it.
I don't think anyone's going to challenge you on that one. Well, over at the secondary table, 5 of the 6 players have gone to the flop.
Did we just take a flop involving 40% of the field?
Corey Aldemir is ahead with a set of 9s. Bartosz Stasiewicz has an up and down straight draw. Nobody else really has anything. Checked around to the turn, which is a 3. Buchanan improves, in inverted commas, to a set.
That is the worst thing to happen to a Buchanan since the U.S. South seceded. Read a history book.
Aldemir is a 3-1 favorite in this 5-way pot.
And somehow Buchanan managed to check his set of 3s.
A bet of 180,000.
Aldemir did not bet his set on the flop.
Stasiewicz has folded.
Check calling isn't the most obvious line here, but it might actually save Sean from going broke, assuming he doesn't boat up on the river.
Buchanan does call. Faro and Rudolph are out, so heads up to the river. That's more like it. This is more manageable. 4 of hearts, so a potential flush out there now.
Yeah, the heart may save him from going broke as well.
Checks once again.
I think playing 3s this way in the long run is going to lose Sean out on some value, but it's possible he's got some super read on Aldemir.
644,000 in the pot. Aldemir goes for value, 480,000. And Buchanan, with the smaller set, is counting out the call.
Yeah, he's definitely never raising.
Can he get away from it? Can he fold the worst hand?
I believe in you, Bucky. And he really wants to fold.
Ah, he calls.
Well, you can tell he's the Winter Soldier. He just avoided getting massively coolered.
Still, loses more than 700K in that hand. Corey Aldemir picks up another sizable pot. And Aldemir is now in a commanding position in the main event, close to 4 million. Well, the winner of this year's PCA doesn't just get $1 million and the main event trophy. They also receive a platinum pass, a ticket to next year's Players' Championship, which is set to be the biggest $25,000 tournament in poker history. You could win free entry to this event by playing live or online. Find out how to qualify at PokerStars. Here in the Bahamas, 13 remain in the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure 2018, and the landscape of the main event has started to shift. David Peters was expected to dominate the day, but he slipped out of the top 3 and a new frontrunner has emerged. Let's head over to the analyst desk and join Richard Orford and Maria Ho.
Thanks very much, James. I am joined by Maria Ho. Interesting level, that one, where the chip leaders got pegged back and the rest of the chips were spread evenly around the table.
Yeah, a little bit different from what we saw yesterday, where kind of the rich got richer. Today, though, the chip stack, especially at the feature table, really started to even out, level off. We saw a couple of the short stacks kind of create some momentum for themselves, and obviously we saw David Peters lose a decent chunk of his stack as well.
And at the same time, the upswing of Corey Aldemir on the secondary table. You picked out Aldemir as the guy to win this tournament, and out of nowhere in this session, he's come roaring back on the secondary table. He is crushing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I knew enough to maybe buy a piece of Korai before the tournament started. Yeah, I mean, Korai was 4th on the Player of the Year race in 2017. He is one of the Germans who...
Yeah, he's 11th on the all-time German list.
Yeah, and they're obviously well known for game theory optimal play, but they really take all the emotion out of poker. Some might say they play poker a bit robotic, but in this game, I think you need to do that.
Okay, let's learn a little bit more about Corey Aldemir.
I'm Corey Aldemir. I'm 27, from Berlin, Germany originally, but I live in Vienna now in Austria. 10 years ago, we played with friends on New Year's Eve, and I didn't know the rules. Somehow I beat my friends, and that's how it started. I think I met Rainer first, Rainer Kempe, like six years ago, and Julian Thomas as well, and I met Fedor like 5 years ago. And well, yeah, we had this Skype group then that was just where we chatted online. It was Team Gatsby Campino. When I met Fedor, we both were playing kind of low stakes. He had some great success after that, you probably know about that. It was basically right after we met, so it was good to have him as a friend, and he gave some good advice over the years. Winning the PCA main event would be pretty cool. It's a very, very prestigious event. I was here for the first time last year. I'm going to feel the excitement, I guess. Hopefully get lucky in the big flips or whatever, because you really can't avoid them. And we'll try to make the final table.
You hear that? He's going to try to make the final table. Smart.
Well, thanks to Richard and Maria as the action restarts here in the Bahamas. Let's check in on Corey Aldemir. He's at the secondary table under the gun with Jack 10.
Raising Jack 10 under the gun never works out well for me, but then again, I'm a terrible poker player.
He's made it 52,000. Round to Adelphin Morales, who's got ace-7. He calls in the small blind. Christian Rudolph, a.k.a. Sevens guy, has ace-4 in the big.
It is always coming ace-4.
He calls as well, so 3-way to the flop. 9-3-3.
Pretty good Jack 10 flop. Not.
Morales and Rudolph have both checked.
Yeah, and that's why I hate Jack 10. Now you continue with Jack high on a 9-high board. You get called by 2 different people with nothing, but it's a better nothing than yours.
54,000, a fold from the ace-7.
Okay, you get called by 1 ace high.
No, Rudolph folds ace-4.
Oh. It's almost as if people fold to you more if you're a better player.
Corey Aldemir hovering around the 4 million mark as we head back to the main stage. Blinds right now, 12,000, 24,000 with a 4,000 ante. Action is on Oleg Titov. What a shirt.
What a guy.
He's not going to play. Jonathan West also passes. Maria Lampropoulou has ace-jack in the hijack.
Just lost a big all-in when she had ace-king against ace-jack.
She raises to 55,000. Potter X out. Kupel folds, as does Adrian Mateos. Tell you what, Joe, let's not show David Peters' hole cards here. Let's sweat with Maria. Let's play this hand from her perspective.
I'm in.
Well, there's a defend from Peters in the big blind.
I like our hand so far against his big blind defense range. We're doing fine.
Ace 6-4 on the flop. Top pair for Lampropoulos.
I really like our hand now. Normally, I'd be worried about him banking a random pair, but since we have top pair, we are very far ahead of his range. Yeah, let's continuation bet. Sure, he'll fold a lot of worse hands, but I am okay with that.
55,000.
Well, shoot.
David Peters not folding. Looks like we're going to the turn. Hold on a sec, he's not calling, he's check raising. 180K he's made it.
Well, he's already polarized himself here. Now, this is either a monster or not much of anything. I think our hand's too strong to fold on a board where he could easily be semi-bluffing, and there aren't a lot of monsters he can have. And he knows we're aggressive and going to continue a lot of ace-high flops, and I think for that reason, I'm in.
Lampropoulos calls. Now he goes to the turn. More than $500,000 in the pot already. 10 of hearts. What's a second flush draw out there? Well, Peters took the betting lead on the flop. He does not barrel the turn.
I feel like he double barrel a lot of his bluffs there. I also feel like he double barrel his monsters as well. Still, we don't want to bet and get raised again with just one pair, so I like a check back.
Lampropoulos does check behind. The river is the 5 of clubs.
Not the best river, some straights got there, but not a horrible one.
Peters checks again.
See, I personally check behind here a lot, but I'm terrible, and I miss a lot of value. And Maria Lampropoulos, she's way more fearless than I am. So I'm going to go ahead and say I approve of a river value bet.
And that's what we get, 175,000. Peters thinking about it.
As long as he doesn't raise, I'm okay with it. If he just calls, I think we got him.
Well, he folds. He had 8-5. He had a whole bunch of nothing.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Hope that tracksuit keeps him warm while he tries to ice skate uphill.
He tried to bluff Maria on the flop. That bluff did not work. This is not the day we predicted for David Peters. He may be in the top 5, but he is not the powerhouse he once was. Corey Aldemir is the overwhelming chip leader, closing in on the 4 million mark. Maria Lampropoulos now sits in second. And if we look at the bottom end of the leaderboard, you'll notice that the guy who had the short stack is now out. Bartosz Stasiewicz, our 13th place finisher, he cashes out for $63,220.
I was just getting attached to Bartosz Stasiewicz.
He was KO'd by Sean Buchanan, and Bucky now has a milli.
Get him, Buck.
Well, with that elimination, we need to balance the tables, which means Jonathan West needs to be moved from the main stage to the secondary table. Blinds are up to 15,000, 30,000 with a 5,000 ante.
I can't believe they're moving Kanye's cousin.
Action on Daniel Kupel. He folds. Adrian Mateos is in the cutoff with ace-3 of clubs. He raises to 65,000. David Peters is on the button and has pocket nines.
Oh yeah, nines.
A re-raise from Peters. A 3-bet to 185,000. T-Top's out. Maria Lampropoulos has ace-10 in the big blind.
Tough to get involved here after raising a 3-bet. Especially with Mateas' stack, he's probably likely to get it in.
Yeah, she folds, and the action is back on Mateos.
Even though we know he's behind, this isn't a terrible hand to get it in with.
All in.
He shoves.
Call.
And Peters calls.
Mateos is suited. He's blocking other ace combos. Still 26%.
He's the last remaining former champion, and he's on the verge of elimination.
And Maria folded an ace.
The flop is ace high.
Oh, he does it again.
Frustration from David Peters.
And an over celebration from Mateos.
The turn card. Here's a 5. So Adrian Mateos is going to double up through David Peters unless there is a 9 on the river. 2 cards could send Mateos to the rail. It's a queen. He survives. And it's now a big stack.
So sick.
Yeah, the worst hand to win. Like,
I folded an ace.
I think it's.
I didn't want to say in the table, I folded an ace.
When Daniela is dealing, it's impossible to lose from me. She deals when I win Monte Carlo too. I run so fast.
Find yourself a dealer that pushes pots for you the way Daniela pushes pots for Adrian Mateos.
He now has 1.8 million. Meanwhile, David Peters is down 2 million on the day and is now one of the shortest stacks in the PCA main event. It's been a series of shocks and surprises here on day 5 of the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure 2018 main event. Start of day chip leader David Peters has endured a series of coolers, bad beats, and mistimed bluffs. He's lost more than 2 million chips, and he's seen a decent chunk of his stack slide over to a dangerous opponent.
Adrian now has a lot of chips. It's just part of poker. It's going to happen a lot. So you just have to be able to weather it, and you just have to move on and keep playing.
Oh, I thought you were supposed to go outside and repeatedly punch a garbage can.
That is why David Peters is a better poker player than you.
Not the only reason.
As we head back to the feature table, the action is on Peters. I tell you what, Joe, let's play this hand from his perspective. Let's sweat with David.
I'm not sure I want to do this twice in one. All right, I'll do it.
So there's been an opening raise from Daniel Kupel. He opened under the gun to 75K. Peters has ace-queen in the cutoff.
All in. Jiggity jam. I'm kidding. Little too big to get it all in. Definitely not folding. Against under the gun, we could flat here. Even ace-king is a flat here sometimes.
Call is what we get from Peters.
I wonder what it's like when David Peters packs. Is he just like tracksuit, 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 comfy clothes?
Everyone else is folded, so these two will go heads up to the flop. Classic ace-queen board, a 10-9-3 flop.
Kupel looks real interested in what we're doing. I like him for something strong, but kind of worried. Honestly, this reeks of jacks.
Kupel has continued for 100K. Peters calls with just ace high.
I was actually kind of fine with a fold there. David Peters not one to give up, though.
4 clubs on the turn.
Kupel just seems like a straightforward player.
When he slows down on the turn, he checks it.
I'm very happy about this check. Pretty sure the play is to try to get the showdown as cheaply as possible for us.
Peters checks behind. The river card is the 3 of diamonds pairing the board. 425,000 in the middle. Kupel raise pre, bet flop, checked turn.
He is betting river.
275,000.
All right, so I don't think Kupel's ever bluffing here, but I can see how Peters might talk himself into a call. If Kupel had an overpair or a 10, he really should have bet the turn when it bricks so hard. And sometimes the big pros just convince themselves everyone plays the way they do.
Peters calls with ace high. Kupel tables jacks. He did have jacks.
Wow, what a run out for jacks.
And David Peters lost roughly half his remaining chips in that hand.
Kupel continues to harvest chips.
Up to 1.6 million.
Meanwhile, David Peters keeps getting crop dusted.
Wow, he's now down 2.5 million from the start of day. Ooh, over to the secondary table, where it's blind v blind. Jonathan West has completed in the small with 9-7 suited. Corey Aldemir raises from the big with Queen 10 suited.
Oh, I hate these spots.
West calls. Oh, wow. 2 pair for West. The flush for Aldemir with a redraw to a straight flush.
Mom, the Milo!
Aldemir continues for 90K.
More chips are going in the middle.
600.
Jonathan West, who's the effective stack here, check raises to 600 grand.
He's raising so he can try to get it in on the turn, maybe even now. Little does he know he's run into a hand more nutted than an almond bar. Don't imagine Corey is going to want to let another club peel off before getting the rest in.
Aldemir shoves on West.
I call. Let's run it.
8 calls. Showdown, please.
Here we go.
It's a pretty good flop.
West needs a 9 or a 7 for a full house. Otherwise, he will exit in 12th place.
He's got 2 chances to hit it. Unless, of course, the Jack of Clubs peels on the turn.
Turn card is the King of Hearts. West still has 4 outs. Looking for a 9 or a 7. It's an 8. He's KO'd.
Good game, man.
That's it for Jonathan West. His tournament ashes will be kept on display here at the Italian restaurant. We'll call it the Spaghetti Western. And I'm also going to leave now.
Wow, that just happened. So West receives just over 63K for his 12th place finish. Meanwhile, Corey Aldemir now has a stack of 5.5 million.
Playing his Corey game today.
I thought you'd gone away. Back to the main feature table. 11 players remaining.
Doors are locked from the outside.
David Peters, the short stack with Ace Jack.
Seems fairly obvious.
Come on.
He shoves for his last 505,000. Daniel Kupel already looks interested.
Yeah, he sure does.
Still got 2 players to act. And Propolu folds the button. Posarek folds the small blind.
Ugh.
So now the action's on Kupel. He has ace, king. He's got Peters dominated.
Call.
He calls the all-in, and this is not looking good for D. Peters.
Domination Nation, and the farmer's got the gun.
7 times out of 10, this will result in Peters heading to the rail. He needs a jack. The flop is 5-5-6.
No jack.
3 outs for David Peters. The turn card is a king. Peters is drawing dead.
It's over.
Good game.
Not the ending we were expecting for David Peters.
No one at the start of today would have predicted that David Peters would be departing in 11th place. He was practically a lock to make the final table.
Hell of a harvest this year for Daniel Kupel. Meanwhile, David Peters has got to make like a tracksuit and zip off.
Cash is out for $75,640. So 10 players remain, and Corey Aldemir has a monster stack, more than double that of Maria Lampropoulos, who sits second in chips. Great couple of levels for Daniel Kupel and Adrian Mateos. Both have managed to come back from the brink. Sadly, no comeback, no happy ending to the tale of David Peters.
Yeah, it was just one of those days. Just nothing went right. Lost every all-in. The big one versus Adrian, that one hurt. And it's pretty rough. I played for several days. I'm doing well the whole time, and then just all kind of disappears in a couple hours. Yeah, it just certainly wasn't my day.
Next time, the pressure mounts as we play down to the final 6.
Time.
30 seconds.
I have to think a lot, but it's not on purpose. I am always nervous.
What do you do?